Everybody, Miss Blanca asked me to come and do the children's church story for you this week, and I was so happy that she did. She told me we were talking about Bible heroes, and today's Bible hero is one that stood up against a big bully. A bully is a person that wants to have their own way no matter who gets hurt or who gets in their way, and today's bully was named Haman. Haman wasn't a king, but he was one of the king's very best advisors, and the king liked what Haman had to say. If the king liked Haman's plan, he would make it a law. And Haman liked to have that kind of power. He liked to be in charge. What Haman didn't like was the Jews. He had been a part of a family that had been fighting the Jews for hundreds of years, and he would like to have every Jew gone. Problem was, there were lots of Jews living in Haman's country, and he was always looking for a way to get rid of them. So Haman is the bully, and the Jews the target. One day, Haman was out walking through the city and got in an argument with one of the Jewish men. And he came back very angry, but he had a schemy plan. He went to the king and said, "You know, king, the Jews are not obeying your laws. I think we should kill them all and get rid of the problem. I have even picked out the most perfect day for you to do it." And he flattered the king and talked the king into it so much that the king agreed to Haman's plan. There was going to be a mass execution of every Jew in the country. Haman was going to be so happy. But what this bully hadn't figured on was a bystander who was going to do more than just stand by. Her name was Esther. God had helped her become queen of Persia, and she was living right there in the palace. She also happened to be a Jewish woman, but nobody knew that. So, when the king took Haman's plan and made a law that all the Jews would be killed, Queen Esther had to make a choice. She could sit quietly in the corner and hopefully nobody would notice her and notice that she was a Jew, or she could stand up for her people and protect them, even though she might get hurt. There was one major setback in having to stand up. She would have had to go see the king, and nobody got to go see the king unless they were invited. Who knew when the next time the king would invite her into his palace would be? So she had to go even though it was against the law to see him. It was a pretty scary thing that Esther had to do, to stand up against Haman's plan. Queen Esther had a cousin named Mordecai, who she usually went to for advice. He reminded Esther that she had the best opportunity of everybody that he knew to get to the king and help save her people. They knew that God had put her in that place, and that he would give her the strength to do what she had to do to save all the Jewish people. By the end of the story, we find out that Esther fasted and probably prayed and got ready to go to the king. And he didn't have her killed. Instead, he listened to what she had to say, and when he found out that Haman was being such a bully, he had Haman punished. Esther saved hundreds of people because she was not afraid to stand up against a bully's plan. So how can we be like Esther? The Bible says that Esther had been put in the palace for such a time as this. She had special talents and gifts and friends and opportunities that nobody else had. And you know what? So do you. You have talents and skills and people that you know and opportunities to make a difference that nobody else has. God has made you different than everybody else, and he has a plan for you. If we look in the book of Esther in chapter 4, there are two verses that talk about Esther's plan. Chapter 4, verse 15 and 16 say, "Then Esther sent this answer to Mordecai, 'Go and get all the Jewish people in Susa together. For my sake, give up eating. Do not eat or drink for 3 days, night and day. I and my servant girls will do the same thing. Then I will go to the king, even though it is against the law, and if I die, I die.'" In those two verses, we see 3 things that Esther did that we can do too, to be a hero just like her. The first one is that we have people that we can ask for help. Esther had Mordecai, Esther had the Jews who she had pray and fast, and Esther had the king who would take action. She asked all of them for help. The second thing Esther did was that she responded when God asked her to go. She said, I will go to the king, even though it's against the law. When God asks us to do something, we have to be willing to do it. And the third thing that Esther teaches us is that she had faith. She didn't know what the ending was going to be. She said, if I die, I die. It was a possibility. But she was willing to do it anyway. She put the final ending in God's hands. We can be like Esther too. A hero isn't someone who is one that succeeds. A hero is someone who tries. Let's all try to be more like Esther.